Well, hello there. Hello there. How's it going? Nice of you to join me. I've been waiting here for hours for you to show up and hit play on that video. Today, we're looking at Wolcen. Wolcen is an ARPG on Steam. It's been released for a while now, and the community generally is displeased with the game. We're going to dive into Wolcen and find out if that's a justified feeling. Is Wolcen really as bad as the community says it is? Is it meh? What is it? What's it like? Let's find out. Let's dive into Wolcen today and see if it's a worthwhile ARPG that's worth picking up along with your Path of Exiles, your Last Epic, your D3, whatever it may be. Can it sit with those big boys and actually deliver some quality ARPG experience? Let's find out. Let's go. Let's get started. Let's go. Come on. Come on. All right, so we are at the title screen here. And we're going to check out the settings first to start out. We have our graphic settings here. It's nothing special, nothing bad or anything of the sort. It's just your basic graphic settings. Audio settings, basic. Gameplay, I like that you can disable camera shake, some settings for health bars, and your keybinds, of course. And then I like here that we have start the game in offline mode, so if you do want to play single player, that's an option. And there you go. Nothing too crazy, but let's go move on to create a character. Blood Trail is the new mode that came out. It adds some stuff that they added recently. So Blood Trail is the more like fleshed out version of the game. So you'll get to see like the real ending of the game if you, or the additional content at the end if you go with Blood Trail. So if you're starting a new character, you definitely want to go with that. Male and female. Gender choice, and some character customizations, pretty basic. I mean, it's an ARPG. What the heck do we want character customization for? Usually pretty zoomed out, but it's kind of crazy to let you change your left and right eye for whatever reason. Ooh, Mr. Suave. I'm gonna go with the bald, shaved head like myself. Gotta represent, and yeah, we'll go plain. Here, melee, range, and magic. You're really only picking the stuff that you start with, but you change your skills and equipment whenever you want. So you don't have to stay with your choice. It's not gonna like, I don't know, stick you to that. So if you see some nice spells later on and you chose melee, you can always swap. But I'm gonna go melee to start, and let's go. Alright, so I skipped the prologue thing that has you kind of like starting out as a different character, because I wanted to get to like the real main stuff of the game so I can show you what it's like. So take a look at the bottom right. You'll see a yellow and purple bar, kind of fluctuating a little bit. Yellow is your rage and purple is wisdom. Wisdom's more like your spellcast type stuff, and yellow is more of your rage, melee type of abilities. So you'll see that go up as I'm meleeing the yellow one, and then it'll deplete as I'm using the ability, my right-click ability, which is this hammer slam attack. I gotta be honest, it's a tedious system. It's just annoying. It starts off and you think, oh yeah, it's not so bad, but you're constantly fighting it. Everything you do is with your resource in mind, and I mean everything. Like, your abilities hit for quite literally, I would say 6 to 10 times the amount of damage as your normal basic attack. So it's pretty annoying. You always got to worry about whether or not you have your resource. So I went and equipped some items here, and you'll see Force Shield went up. You'll see my health bar in red. It's got like a little coating on it. That's the Force Shield, which is like energy shield for Path of Exile players. So now I'm dual wielding. Threw on 2 weapons. Nothing special. We know what dual wield like. I do like that you get the roll thing though. That's kind of cool. Like, you can play a little more actiony and dodge some enemy abilities and such. Overall, the combat's not too bad. I just wish it felt a little more responsive. You know, you get locked into longer animations and such, and it doesn't feel good when you have like an action roll in the game. It kind of contradicts the combat a little bit. When you do level up, you get attribute points and these passive points. So You do have to spend your attribute points manually. It's not an automated system. I actually like that. I think it's kind of cool how you can make yourself super tanky if you want. You can make yourself more crit oriented, higher attack speed. You get to make a choice, and the game doesn't lock you in like a, oh, you know, if you're this class, you're gonna get 5 strength every time you level and two wisdom every time you level. You know, so I like that you have a choice. So I like that. Thumbs up for that, Wilson. And at the bottom there, at the bottom left, you'll see like no matter what you put points into, it does increase your damage equally. But the additional stats, the 2 different things below each, for instance, toughness is health and force shield, agility is attack speed, spellcasting, like that's your only difference. Here we have the Gate of Fates, which is like your passive tree, your talent tree, so to say. And they do have a bit of an interesting take on it. So here you just, your basic path you're choosing, right, in the beginning. But they do have a bit of an interesting feature here, which I'll show you. On the left side, you can select like one of the 3 rings, like the center, the middle, and the outer ring, and you can rotate them. And it's pretty interesting because you got to go from the center and link to another one. So you can move it and choose to go on a specific path and, you know, make it to the outer ring that has these stronger talents. So I thought that was pretty cool, being able to adjust where everything is positioned on your talent tree, your Gate of Fates. Pretty unique, right? I mean, I don't think I've seen this in another game. If you have, please share that in the comments. I'd love to hear that. I'll go look it up and take a look at the feature. But yeah, I like this. I think their progression system's not too bad when it comes to attributes and talents, at least. And then you can respec them if you want by paying this primordial stuff that you can get by finding abilities more than once. I'll show you that later. So one thing I wanted to show you guys was the somewhat newly added loot filter. This was not in the game at launch, and they did add it. It was highly requested, so props to Wilson for adding this. However, I'm going to show you guys something which is extremely disappointing. If you guys have seen any early access reviews in this channel, you know we like to look at the devs and see if they've been responding to issues, see if they actually follow through with any sort of promises. Take a look at this. Let's go check their forums real quick. I want to show you something on there. Oh wait, their official forums are down and have been for about 3 days now. Yeah, that's not a good look. But don't worry, I did grab another recording when it came back up 3 days later. So here's what I actually wanted to show you, and now that the forums are back up, I wanted to show you this. Is it possible to always show items and hide them via left alt? So this person always wants their items showing when they drop. They could set a filter and be like, hey, I only want to see like rare and above, like only yellows. So I don't have to keep hitting alt. It will come with the loot filter, most likely post-release. That was 1 year and 2 months ago. As you can see, this is the community manager, and that loot filter has already been added. I responded and said, looking around, I don't see the option to always loot, always show loot, checking in to see if this feature was ever added. It wasn't. It was never added, and that was 1 year and 2 months ago. The loot filter's already been added to the game, and it will come with the loot filter. Not it will likely or whatever. It's still not there, and this is the type of stuff I like to look into. So we're gonna go ahead and throw a little reply there and just see if we can, any chance this may be added one day, because I already know it's not. I'm just gonna say, is it gonna be added one day? Don't like seeing this. I think that's a bad look. Alright, so here we just have a quest completed. We can pick our reward. Pretty basic, right? What do you want for your quest? There you go. The rewards are actually randomly generated, which I thought that was kind of cool. Jewelers and unsocketing, you can get gems and socket them into gear. When I get one later in this video, I'll show you. But you can use this jeweler here to unsocket gems and purchase gems. Pretty basic stuff, nothing crazy. Here we have skills. They're called Enirax. you'll get them, they'll go into your inventory, and you'll use them and learn them. And that's what I was talking about. Like if you get a skill more than once and you go to learn it, you'll get like this this currency that you can use to respec your talents or to quickly level up your skills. Like you can spend them to like boost it quicker, because your skills also level as you have them equipped, not use them, but specifically equipped, and they'll gain experience as your character normally would gain experience if you have these abilities equipped. When you first start the game, you can have 5 skills equipped, and the 6th slot is opened up when you finish the campaign. So you'll see the right click has a skill, and 1 through 4 for a total of 5. The 5th slot opens up, which would be a total of 6, of course. So I went over there and chose a skill and learned it. The Wings of Ishmir. And down here at the bottom, you can see like you can convert the skill to a different damage type if you want. So you see like different ones for different different skills, and then you have all these skill modifiers. So when your skills level up, you can modify your skill to do different things, like more damage, more crit damage, lower cooldown. Well, not a bad system. All right, back to the action. Pretty cool scene, cool cinematic. Fire the arrows, okay. So, you'll find that Wolcen's got some decent cinematics for an ARPG. It's not too bad. So, we're in a camp being sieged by a bunch of little minion dudes that are coming out from the ground. And we're fighting them. So, the game starts out, and it feels okay. It's not so bad. There's a but, and we'll get to some of that stuff. So the combat's overall pretty entertaining when things are working as they should. So this is obviously 4-player co-op. There's some destructible environment stuff like barrels that'll explode, and you see it did like an incredible amount of damage to me. But you know what? I don't really care if I go down, because my friends can pick me up, and also, there is no hardcore mode in this game. ARPGs with no hardcore mode, that's very depressing to me. They do have an achievement to like, oh, hit level 90 without dying. Yeah, that's cool, I guess. But like, you know, when I play an RPG, I play it in hardcore mode. I like the risk versus reward type of thing, you know, where you're not building pure glass cannon, you're actually really trying to not die. And as you can see, 2 players are down here right now. I think a barrel exploded on them, but I can pick them up, resurrect them, and they can get back into the fight, which, like, that's fine. That's a cool system. Like, that's worked in plenty of games. I don't mind that. But if they do not get resurrected and their time depletes, I would like a mode that completely deletes that character. Like, that's not for everyone, but it should be a choice, and you should definitely support that. That's like an ARPG standard. Or, if the character dies, they get moved over to, like, the non-hardcore standard league, like Path of Exile does that. That's fine. And, completely honest, I look for that. I look for that feature. Like, does this ARPG have a hardcore option? And it's extremely appealing to me when I see non-ARPG games also have that. You know, like I expect it in ARPGs, but I love it in games that are non-ARPG. It's just like a nice little surprise. Like, I love challenging myself. So here's pretty much the first boss fight. There's one in like the prologue, but it doesn't really count. This is like a mini boss fight, I guess you'd call it. And some of the boss fights could be interesting. Like you gotta use your roll and dodge out of the way of some attacks. Don't judge the game too much at this state, this boss fight, because it is one of the first boss fights in the game. As you can see, he's got like a straight line directional, like flame poison-esque attack that you would want to definitely roll out of the way if you're in the front of him. Again, it might seem pretty basic, but, you know, it's one of the first bosses. There are some bosses that are definitely more well-designed, a lot more circles around the room of explosion, quick get out of there before they explode on you type of thing, like MMO raid boss type of design. So there's some of those in the game, and those are definitely fun. You know, you got to be a little more attentive and get out of that stuff.
Who the hell are you, soldier?
So if you ever catch me playing ARPGs, you will tend to see me spinning to winning. Spin to win, baby! I love my whirlwind, my cyclone, whatever it may be. Love it, right? So this is my favorite skill in the game, this whirlwind. Very cool, right? Okay, so let me show you the most depressing thing about it. In Wolcid, there is no chance to hit. If you swing, you use an ability, it hits, guaranteed. Well, notice how this whirlwind's not hitting? Yeah, there is a major bug with the ability where it just doesn't hit enemies. Take a close look here, right at this point. Just not hitting, not hitting, not hitting. So I cannot use my favorite ability in the game because it's bugged. So I later found that the whirlwind's bugged with two-handers. So if I use a one-hander and shield, I'm good to go. Still very unacceptable for a game so far after its release. This is not an early access game. So I wanted to show you here this Yudai, this boss fight. Pretty cool. I wanted to show you a more well-designed boss, a little more flashy, a lot more dangerous. But there's not much danger because there's no hardcore mode. But the boss fight is pretty cool. Summon some ghost spirits right there. He's got this vortex spirit thing that he'll summon these, I don't know, orbs on the outside and pull them in towards him. So if you're on him meleeing, you'll take an incredible, here it is right now, that. You'll take an incredible amount of damage like that, and then he's got that beam to follow up. So he can kind of like shotgun you with those, I guess you can call it. And you'll just take damage from a whole ton of those orbs as they come in. And you could die pretty quick. So, I guess that's why I call them Yudai. Easy. Y-U-D-A-I. But, oh, there's the orbs again. Don't worry, I wised up here and started actually moving out. But those orbs also freeze you so he can follow up with the beam. Pretty cool. I don't like how he kind of follows like a script. Like, he should do the summoning. You see, there it is. I think when he's below 50% health, he summons those stronger enemies. And then there's the smaller enemies. And he should be doing the orbs pretty soon and then follow up with the beam. It's kind of scripted, but I just wanted to show you that there's some flashy boss fights in this game. And it's not all bad. Oh, you could also stun bosses. He just got stunned, so it interrupted his orb attack, which is pretty cool. It's the bottom bar below him. Below bosses, as you continue to wail on them, they'll lose that. You see it's now blue? That means it can start being damaged again. That stun bar. And when they're stunned, they're obviously, well, they can't take action, and they take more damage. So, cool system, and some abilities can kind of break that bar quicker, if you want to kind of build around that a little bit. I think that's a pretty cool addition to an ARPG we haven't seen too much of. Or at all, honestly. I mean, there's some boss phases, you know, where the enemy will be stunned, but this is like all bosses, all like kind of like big elite enemies. It's just an actual feature throughout the game. I'm trying to avoid showing you some more big names in the story, because there's some boss fights that'll spoil the story for you, and Wolcen's a pretty heavy story game, which you will find out. Honestly, it's an interesting story for an ARPG. Usually ARPGs are a little bland on the story, but this one's pretty deep, and they actually do a really good job at telling the story. So if you're looking for a really good story in an ARPG, this is probably one of the best, story-wise. Gameplay-wise, not so much.
My powers are growing.
While we're on the topic of storytelling, I wanted to revert back to the very beginning of the game. This is like the first cinematic, and I just wanted to show you a little bit of, I'll keep this one short, I promise, a little bit of the story when you first start. like I said, this game is heavy in the story. There's a lot of dialogue. The voice acting is actually quite good. And the story actually kept me interested. You know, I wanted to find out more about what kind of twists and stuff there were going to be, because this game actually throws in a lot. You know, some betrayal, you know, some friends become enemies, some enemies become friends. Hopefully you get that joke. But yeah, it does a good job of telling a story. And I was surprised to see this in an ARPG genre. It's not a genre that's particularly good at telling stories, but Wilson does a good job of it. But I can't help but think that they sacrifice some gameplay for good story. You know, I would prefer all-around good gameplay. I could sacrifice a story when it comes to an ARPG. I'm usually playing like a single-player, you know, I don't know, turn-based RPG, open-world game like a Witcher or something like that, if I'm going for my story. But heck, it's a nice addition. Maybe some of you guys are out there and you'd prefer this, an ARPG with a good story. Alright, let's move on. So remember the bugged whirlwind? Well, turns out I discovered another one that's pretty bad. It's even worse than the bugged whirlwind. You see the player Bucky Cat there, using this Siphon Green ability? Well, we were locked up in the game, and this happened a couple times where we had to just wait for the game to disconnect. And I noticed it only happens when that ability is being used. And here it is again. You can see that same green beam. Ignore the blue beam, but right under it you'll see the green beam. And Wilson devs, if you ever see this, listen, I understand bugs exist. I really do. I'm all for early access alpha and going a little further, but this is a pretty big bug to be present this far after the release of the game. It's just something that's got to be fixed. Later on in Wilson, you'll unlock this feature where you can transform into a aspect, I guess, is the right term, aspect of Apocalypse. So you'll see there's 4 different types here. Aspect of Dawn. Feel free to read those skills if you want to pause the video and read them if you're that interested. Aspect of War. He looks pretty cool. And Aspect of Infinity. That looks pretty cool too. And then last, and my favorite, Aspect of Flesh. So yeah, feel free to pause on any of those if you want to read it. I'm going to go ahead and unlock this one and show you guys what it's like. So we're playing 4-player co-op, which means all 4 of us took a different aspect. So we went ahead and transformed for you. So I'm this guy, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is the first time I transformed into it, so I'm just trying the abilities out real quick. And as you can see, the other 3 are just kind of like swarming the boss. But it's pretty cool, it's pretty flashy, but it doesn't last very long. You activate it by filling that bar in between the red and yellow bar down there, the rage bar and the health bar. At the top there, you see that little other yellow bar, I guess, goldish bar, filling up. When that's fill or halfway filled, you can use R by default to transform into that aspect. And you're pretty much unkillable, you do some decent damage, and it's flashy, it's cool, it's fun. I wish it was more impactful, you know, like you can use it more often. But it's not too bad. It's pretty cool. It's a nice little feature in the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed that in-depth look at Wilson. Pretty in-depth. I know this was a long video, and thank you very much for making it all the way to the end. I really appreciate you watching the whole thing. I hope you learned a lot about the game. And here's my final thoughts on it. If someone asked me, would you suggest Wilson? This is how I would go about suggesting it. Wilson's not a bad game, but there's already so many ARPGs that just do it better than Wilson. So if I was going to suggest it, I suggest it like this. If you played the crap out of Path of Exile, Grim Dawn, Diablo 3 even, you play the crap out of these games that just do it better, and you really still want more ARPG, you still want to play another ARPG, and you're looking for something new in the genre, like not something you already put hundreds of hours into, okay, yeah, play Wolcen. It's not a bad game, but you better really love ARPGs, you know? It's not a bad game. But again, there's just ARPGs that just do it so much better. And I hope Wolcen can get there one day. I mean, just thinking about like the bugs where like an entire skill becomes pretty much unusable. It crashes the game. Another skill that, oh, if you're using a two-hander, you can't use it. So if you were a two-hand build and that was your favorite ability, well, re-roll, you know, pick something else. It's broken. You know, I don't like that. And these bugs are so, they're pretty severe in my opinion. They're severe. And they're so far past the release day that they should be fixed by now. It's unacceptable to be in the game at this point. They've released pretty much expansion level content and still have crazy game breaking bugs in there. And then we have the community manager saying, hey, you know, this always show loot thing will be in the game when this loot filter comes out. That was like almost 6 months ago. No word on it. They never said, hey, you know, sorry, we missed this. We're getting to it. Nope. Ghosted, never responded to that again. Never commented on the always loot thing, you know, always show loot. Just gone. And that looks bad. That looks unprofessional. In addition to that, another thing that looks unprofessional is letting your forums go down for 2-3 days. That's a bad look. I've had my website go down for my guild and I panicked to get it back up within like an hour. Like, that's a bad look. I don't want that to be a thing, you know, that's on your record and people see you as, wow, they're lazy. They don't care. That doesn't look good, guys. And if you do watch this video, Wolcen team, devs, community managers, whoever, please know that I'm not here to insult you guys. I'm not here to make you look bad. I'm giving you honest feedback, and I do it without being rude. So I hope you can value this. I know that's hard to get in the gaming development world. Honest feedback that's not coming off condescending and just insulting. So please know that I mean well. I want to see you guys do better. I want to see Wolcen become better. I want to see it be like something I can throw off the top of my head right away. If someone goes, hey, Greg, do you have an ARPG you can suggest to me? Wolcen. I want to be able to say that. I want to be able to right away play Wolcen, man. You're going to love it. I want to see it get to that point. And I believe you can do it. You got a good game on your hands. You got something that you can just perfect. It will be excellent. I know it'll be something that the ARPG community will love. I know you can get there. And I hope that you do it with feedback like this, where you take feedback rather than push it away. I've seen a lot of dev companies kind of spit in my face almost when it comes to giving feedback like this. So again, please know I mean well. I'm not here to insult you guys. And for you, the rest of my viewers still watching, thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. I know this was a very, very long video. RTX 3080 giveaway. Before I leave you, I'm going to plug this thing again. Oathboundgaming.com. Enter this thing. Take this bad boy home. There's not much time left. It's almost got to leave. I'm going to miss seeing it, but it's got to go sometime soon. Thank you very much for watching. Please throw a sub and a like if you like this video, you like this channel and its content. Always appreciate the support, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Skidda!